Hello everyone, this is Kusmakar. Welcome to the series of C programming. So today we will learn about the input and output. So see what is input and what is output. So input means into the memory and output means out of the memory. When we say into the memory, what does it mean basically? So input means we are taking the value from the keyboard or some file and we are putting that value into the memory or saving that value into the memory. This process is called as input. I'm just repeating it again. Input is a process by which we take the value from the file or the keyboard and we take that value into the memory. So this process is called as input. And output is the process when we take the value out of the memory and printing it on the screen is called as output process. So I hope it is clear to you now. So let me explain you this using the program. Okay, so go to new file, empty file. So first I will write the C program and then I will describe C program one by one, right? And include. So here I'm declaring the header files. Print f, enter a number, scan f, and a %d, f, %d, comma a. Catch. So this is the function and declare the variable as well. Int a. So this is the function. So now I will show you. Let's save it as a save this file as a input output dot C program. Okay. So now I have saved it as a C program. Now I will build it. Okay, no error. And then I will show you how it will behave. Now here we will see that how input and output is coming, right? Now let's see, we will run it. So what is happening here? Here this is the output. That means the value is printing on the screen. Value is printing on the screen. So this process is called as output. So this line is printed here. So this is the output basically, right? Now it is waiting for some value. Okay, so I will enter 6 number. So the 6 number I have entered from the keyboard and this value will be saved in the memory, right? Then I will press enter. Then again the output is coming. The entered number is 6. So 6 is coming out of the memory. So this entered number is printed, then the value of the memory location is printed. So this line is the output, right? So I'm again explaining it. First line enter a number is output, then we will give the input by entering 6 number from the keyboard, then the second whole line will be printed with the value. So this is the output process. Now we will understand that how basically is running it. So we will discuss each line of the program one by one, right? Now see what is happening in this program. First we will declare the header files, this one and this one. So how do we include it? So to include or add the header file or to declare the header file, we use the preprocessor directive. Preprocessor directive is hash include. So hash include is the preprocessor directive. So what is the meaning of preprocessor directive? When the program will run, first of all, the statement with the preprocessor directive will be executed. So in this case, before to run this function, these lines will be executed because we are using preprocessor directive with these statements. So by the help of preprocessor directive, we are including the header files like Stadio and Conio. So what is the meaning of these header files now? So header files are the files where the functions or the objects are already defined in the header file, and if the programmer want to use those functions which are defined in these header files, then these header files has to be included in the program, right? If we will not declare it, then it will give the error. Like stdio.h is a header file, and this header file having two functions which we are using in our program. So printf is a function and scanf is a function. How we can say these are the functions? Because function is represented by the brackets. So in printf we are using the brackets, and scanf we are using the brackets. So these two functions are defined in the stdio.h header file. So if we want to use these functions in our program, then we have to include the header file. So we almost in all C programs we use printf and scanf functions. So these are the basic functions which are required for the input and output. So to use this function, we have always have to include stdio.h header file, right? In the similar manner, the catch function is defined inside the conio.h. So that is why we have included this header file. So always remember, if you want to use the functions and those functions are defined in the header file, then those header file should be included, otherwise error will come, right? So now after reading this header file, compiler will come to int main function, right? So compiler is basically executing the C program from top to down. So after reading this, compiler will go to int main. So int main is the function. So as I already told you, the functions are described or declared with the brackets. So here main is the function. So main is the system functions like printf, scanf, main. These are the system functions. So there are two type of functions. One is system functions and the second is user defined functions, which is defined by the user. But here we are using the system defined function. So always remember, when the C program start, it will always start from the main function. So main function is always to be used for C programs. And int is the return type. Int represent the integer value. So if you have int, then it has to return 0 or any integer value. So 0 means no error, and any other value, that means error. So we are using 0 here, right? So after reading this statement, compiler will execute the body of this function. So inside the body, when compiler will come to this line, so int a, so what this statement is basically about, int means integer and a is the memory location. So, okay, or we can say int is the data type, a is a variable, or we can say int is a keyword and a is an identifier, right? So keyword is what? The words which are already defined inside the compiler. So int is a word which is already defined in the compiler, and a is an identifier, means the name of the variable, name of the memory location. So those are called as identifiers. Now when we write int a, so what will happen? The memory will be reserved. So how it will be reserved? First it will see the data type, what kind of data type it is. So this data type is int, and int requires 2 byte of memory. So here is the example of the memory. So memory is having the cells, each cell is made up of 1 byte. So this cell is having the 1 byte, this cell is having the 1 byte. So similarly all the cells having the 1 byte. So int requires 2 byte, so it means 2 byte of memory need to be reserved. Okay, so it will be reserved for 2 byte. So here what will be happen? This memory will be reserved and the name of this memory location will be A, right? So basically what is happening with this statement? Memory location need to be reserved, and that memory location will be A, and that memory location size will be int data type, according to the int data type. So int data type required 2 byte of memory, so that memory required 2 byte, so 2 byte will be reserved, right? And int also represent that integer value. So in this memory location only the integer value will be saved, right? If you want to save the decimal value, then that will be automatically converted into the int data type, right? I will show you how. Now after reserving the memory of 2 byte for the integer value, and that memory location name will be A, okay, then compiler will come to the second line. So in second line what will happen? It will directly print what we are passing inside this function. Okay, so print a value, we always use the double quotes, this start of this double quote and the end of this double quote. So whatever we are passing inside this double quote, that will be exactly printed on the screen. So printf function is basically printing enter a number. So before to take the input from the user, we are just saying to the user that please enter a value. So what we are doing, we are just printing this line to the user so that user can understand that he need to give some value from the keyboard. Okay, so printf function is basically a output function. Got it? Then we will come to the scanf function. So scanf function is the input function. So scan will wait for the user, and when the user will enter some value, that value will be saved at a memory location, right? So a is this, right? So after the value will be saved at a memory location, then what we are doing, we are just printing again, enter number is %d. If you want to use the value of some variable means the memory location which can save the different values. So a memory location can save 45 as well, so it can be changed to 54 or it can be changed to 78. So any integer value can be saved in this memory location. That means this memory location name is a variable, right? So entered number is %d. That %d represent the a memory location. So entered number is, so if you want to use the, if you want to print the value, then you have to use the format specifier of that memory location. This is the format specifier. So entered number is the format specifier, means the value of that variable. So it will go to the first variable. If they are 2%d, then first %d will see the first variable, second %d will see the next variable. So it is sequentially look into the variables, right? So in printf function, entered number is a. So whatever number is saved in this memory location, that will be printed here, right? After this, the output will be hold on, and then we have to return the value since we have used the return type of int. We can also use the void. So if we are using the void, then we don't have to return any value, right? So you can also use the void if you don't want to return any value. So this is also the correct program, right? So now I will show you again the output of this program. Now I will build it. By building it, you can see in the build logs there is no any error, there is no any warning. So it is a correctly written here, right? Now I will show you again the output of this program. So after building it, I will run it. Now see what will happen. Now see here. So first of all, the value is output, means this value is output. Enter a number. So this is output here. Now compiler is come here. Scanf. Scanf means compiler is waiting for the input. Input means it is asking for some value which will be saved at a memory location. So when we enter 67, so 67 value will be saved to a memory location, right? After entering the integer value, press enter. Okay, so before displaying this, what is happening, what is basically happened when we entered the 67 and press enter, that 67 value is saved at the a memory location. Okay, after it is saved at the a memory location, then compiler read this line and it printed entered number is a. So 67 is saved at a memory location, so entered number is 67, right? So this is basically happened in this program. So this is the input and output. I hope it is clear to you now. So this, okay. Now let me show you. If you don't include these header files, what will happen? So if you don't use this header file, you can comment this. Okay. Commenting means that line will not be the part of run. It is just for read or just for message. So if we are commenting this line, then this line will be out of the execution. So when you will build it, it will show you the error print for printf and scanf. So printf and scanf which we have used, we have not declared the header file for this function, so that is why it is giving the warning, right? Similarly, if you don't declare the variable, let's say this, and you build it, then it will give you the red mark here. So what has happened here? Build failed, one error. So what is the error? Go to build log and see the error. So identifier, I have already defined. A is the identifier. So identifier is not defined basically here, right? So you always need to declare the variable. So such kind of errors may come, so that you have to check using the build log, and you need to correct those errors and then build it again and see what is happened. So if the error is not coming here, that means all are fixed, correct? So this is the very simple program of input and output. So hope you have understood what is input process and what is output, and how we use the input and output process in our program. Thank you so much. If you have any query, you can put down into the comments, and please don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you so much. In the next chapter, we will come up with more programs for the basic flow and with the logic as well. Thank you so much.